for you, 'cause I know I'm gonna see you soon. Baby, meet me under my umbrella. Life is sweet, yay, under my umbrella.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? This is your WWE Raw post show for Monday, March 28th. Tonight on the show, WrestleMania is this weekend. Bobby Lashley returns. He will take on Omos. Becky Lynch gets a haircut. And the Steiner brothers going in to the Hall of Fame.
That's true.
Steiner rise. I love the Steiner brothers, brother. Shout out to what happened? Silent by Deadly dropping a super chat before the show even starts. Silent. Thank you, Silent, keeping it super, keeping it chatty. Supporting the Ringside Report Network. Thank you, Silent.
Appreciate that.
Hit us up on Super Chat. Who will be the Super Chat leader tonight? We got a big week. It's WrestleMania week.
We just watched WrestleMania Raw.
Yeah.
The first ever WrestleMania Raw. So exciting. So much happened. Such promos.
What?
They really promoted. I'm being facetious.
We must have watched a different show, brother.
That was pretty brutal.
Welcome to the Simon Brothers Super Show. It's the Super Simon Brothers Super Show. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Take your arms from side to side.
Do the Mario. All
Do
together
the Simon
now.
Brothers. Yeah.
I'm Lou Albano, and you're the other guy.
Oh, all right. I mean, I've always been the Luigi.
You're definitely Luigi to my Mario.
Yeah, I'm taller, lankier.
Yeah, and I'm the main guy, Super Mario over
I
here.
got the mustache.
Yeah, but I got all the games named after me.
That's true.
That's right. Come to my party. Oh! All right. So, Raw, the last Raw before WrestleMania, you expect a little bit more. You expect something that makes you want to watch WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You expect to see something on the program that's going to entice you to tune in on Saturday or Sunday night.
Yeah.
I don't know if we saw that tonight. I don't know how much we saw tonight to draw us into WrestleMania. I think we saw a couple of things that helped, but the way they closed the show tonight was odd. I thought the end of the show tonight with the RKO brothers and the Usos in that match was weird. It was like a 30-minute match that ended by disqualification. It was RKA Bros against the Usos. Solid match. You know, it was fine, but you knew that it was going to end in some sort of melee because you had Nakamura and Boogs ringside, and they're wrestling the Usos on WrestleMania one of the nights. Doesn't really matter.
Saturday?
Yeah. So with Boogs and Nakamura ringside, you kind of figure, oh, well, they're going to interfere in some way. But actually, it wasn't them. It was the Street Profits who decide to attack Randy. And, of course, the Street Profits, they have a match with the Alpha Academy and the RK Bros at WrestleMania. So the Street Profits attack Randy, cause a disqualification. Nakamura and Boogs just kind of brawl backstage with they brawl to the backstage. It was super awkward. At one point, Boogs just kind of picked up one of the Usos and was carrying him for a while, and then realized, I can't just carry him 40 feet to the gorilla position, so he kind of put him down, and then the camera was like, let's cut away from this, and they cut away, because Nakamura and the other Uso were already
gone.
They were already gone, going through the entranceway, and there was another Uso and Boogs just kind of trailing behind, and the camera was still on them, and then you realize shouldn't be on them. Went back to the ring to see the RK Bros fight with the Street Profits. And the Street Profits, despite the fact that they attacked Randy from behind, couldn't keep the advantage on the RKOs. And Randy hits the RKO on Montez. And then their music hits, the RK Bro music hits, and they do their pose. And you think, okay, well, the show's over. But no, it's 10:58, so the music goes back down, and Angelo Dawkins, who's outside the ring, decides to roll into the ring.
Still confused
And unconscious somehow. He was conscious enough to get himself from the floor to inside the ring, but then once he gets back in the ring, he's fully unconscious and has no idea where he is, and he's just watching his tag team partner take an RKO, waiting for his turn to take the RKO. It was ridiculous. It felt like the thing that they do when the show is over, give him a couple extra RKOs just to give you something extra for the fans. It was a dark segment that they put on TV because they ran out of stuff to do. And that, to me, is a perfect metaphor to what the WWE has become. It's just filling time. They don't actually have anything. They're just throwing whatever they have out there to fill time. It's not like they have so much stuff. They have so many matches that they need 2 nights. That's not the case. They just decided that it's a cash grab and they're going to do 2 nights and try to fill this stadium for 2 nights. But they don't actually have a show that needs 2 nights. It is not such a jam-packed card that it needed to be 2 nights. A lot of these matches could be straight out cut, and everything involving these tag teams could be.
Yeah.
None of this that we saw at the end of the night was interesting for WrestleMania.
And Alpha Academy was nowhere to be found.
Alpha Academy, who's in this match with the Bros and the Profits, they weren't there. They did a Snickers commercial. I liked Otis eating the Snickers because the bar disappeared in his hand. Like me eating a Snickers bar, it's 4 or 5 bites. Otis, I think, could eat a Snickers bar in 1 bite. He's impressive. But
they weren't there, so the Street Profits played the heel role.
Yeah.
It was strange.
And it just, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, and you're watching this stuff in the main event of Raw. It's supposed to be the go-home show, and the last thing you see is this nothing tag team promo thing, this little beat down on the Street Profits. For what? because the Street Profits have looked so strong and you have to knock them down a peg before WrestleMania. What? No? The only way this makes sense is if RK Bro is dropping the belts. Like, if those guys are dropping the belts at WrestleMania, okay, give them their little over on Raw. It was a little much.
It was a little much. Like,
they wrestle
Riddle
a match.
hit like 2 or 3 RKOs, and then Riddle hit them.
They wrestle a match, and then Randy gets beat up. It's like a 30-minute match. Yeah. Randy gets attacked from behind.
Against the Usos. Or, the heavyweights of the tag team division.
Randy's attacked from behind, okay? And their RK Bro still able to fight back, take out the Street Profits, and just demolish the Street Profits. Not just Randy hitting RKO. It was Randy hitting RKO, and then they pose for a while, and the Street Profits are still dead, and then the Street Profits roll back into the ring so that they could take more of a beating. No offense. They look like garbage going into this pay-per-view.
They look like ass.
Yeah, that's right, like Montez would say. Ridiculous. I mean, and that's how you... And it's just such a cold, soft, mid way to go into WrestleMania. Like, that as your final segment going into the biggest pay-per-view of the year, that's your main event of the go-home Raw to WrestleMania. It's shameful.
And, like, before this, we used to think, like, the worst kind of hype they had was when Roman and Brock had a tug-of-war over the championship. I was like, and then, like, they went off the air.
That would have been better.
That would have been, like, leagues better.
1,000,000 times better.
Yeah, and, like, at the time, we were like, oh, this is awful. But this is, like, ridiculous. At least maybe even have the Street Profits, beat up RK Bro and stand on top and be like, oh, what's going to happen?
Nothing.
Is RK Bro going to lose?
No, it was...
Add some kind of question mark.
Let's have Randy hit the RKO to send the fans home happy because everybody loves the RKO, pal.
They'll do it again.
That's what it was. And yeah, they'll probably do it again. I could see RK Bro retaining. I could see the Alpha Academy taking the belts back, and I hope that they do. I really do, because I think that they're the best. Thank you! Yeah. And everybody should shoosh when they wrestle, because you need to pay attention to these guys. They are fantastic.
Yeah, that was a strange way to close out the night.
On WrestleMania Sunday, it's just one of the matches. How do you close out Raw with that? And, the main part of Raw, we could talk about the Seth Rollins thing with Vince McMahon, which was also a big letdown. I saw somebody said something about Cody. Doug Hepburn, member of the team, thank you, Doug, for supporting. I saw a couple people renewing their membership as well. Appreciate all the members. Join.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel. Keep us going strong. Doug Hepburn said, once I saw Cody wasn't going to be there, it was over for me. Yeah. It was a letdown. And I knew Cody wasn't going to be there before the show because Seth Rollins was tweeting like, oh, it's all fine. I have my match. I'm not going to hold up WrestleMania. Like, he was, before the show, he was saying, oh, I had a meeting with Vince and I'll know my opponent in the ring at WrestleMania. Like, the WWE social media was already putting out that Cody would wrestle at Mania and find out his opponent. So we weren't going to see Cody on Raw tonight. That was obvious. Uh-huh. Here's Seth Freakin's tweet. I think I can show this here. Seth Freakin's tweet from earlier today before Raw. Oh, crapola, I nearly forgot. Raw can proceed with its scheduled events for the evening as I have been granted my WrestleMania match. Party till Dallas, LFG, Vinman for the win, man.
Vinman. Didn't Shawn Michaels used to call him Vinman?
Vinman, yeah. So you going into Raw, you thought, oh, Cody might show up because Seth said last week that he was going to hold up the show. Like, he went bananas. He said bullshit. He was going all crazy. Remember, he tore the set down and he said, oh, well, I'm going to hold up Raw. There's going to be no Raw unless I get my moment for WrestleMania. So then today, the WWE social media, or I think over the weekend, they said, oh, Vince tweeted to Seth Rollins, we need to have a meeting Monday morning. And then, Seth starts tweeting out that he's got his match. And I think
fine.
Vince tweeted out like, Seth will find out who his opponent will be at WrestleMania on Saturday. And they already put out a graphic like Seth versus mystery opponent WrestleMania Saturday. I think it's Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Like they put out the graphic and they said that the opponent will be announced already on Twitter. So then we still have a segment that went nowhere and was just a letdown. Like going into Raw, I knew no Cody. No Cody. Cody at Mania, probably. Although at this point, maybe not. I mean,
I fully expect it.
It'd be a funny swerve if it was not Cody. I'd like it for.
Can anybody
satisfy
audiences?
I mean, I think it would just be hilarious if it's Ted DiBiase Jr. and
Manu.
No, just Ted DiBiase Jr. Was Manu in Legacy too?
Briefly.
Well, Ted DiBiase Jr. I think would get a bigger reaction and people would be more aware. Ted DiBiase Jr. Vince is like, here's your opponent, Cody. Ted DiBiase. He's like, he's a member of Legacy. He knows Randy Orton. He's a former whatever tag team champion. Here he is. Ted DiBiase Jr. And then Ted DiBiase Jr. comes out and the crowd is like booing and Vince goes, what? I thought you wanted the guy from Legacy. I don't know.
I'm a genius.
Right, well,
and then that's it.
And then Seth just squashes DiBiase in 2 minutes.
And is very confused.
And then Cody's music hits, and then Cody comes out. Yeah. I think that would be funny if they did that. Or if Cody doesn't come out, and then that's it. And then everybody's just like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it's Ted DiBiase Jr. He's back.
Yeah, except he's not. He was just there to do the job for Seth. And Seth was never going to wrestle Cody. That was just the internet working themselves into that. And Cody shows up the night after Mania, and he starts a program with Edge or something, I mean, at this point, who cares? Nobody's buying a ticket or tuning in because of Cody Rhodes, because Cody Rhodes isn't advertised. WWE can't be blamed for Cody Rhodes not showing up. They haven't advertised Cody Rhodes.
No, they've done everything but.
It does seem like this is the spot for Cody Rhodes. Seth went to WWE headquarters. This is a pre-tape segment they showed on Raw. Vince McMahon keeps him waiting 2 hours before the meeting. Seth gets into the office. Vince is ignoring him. Vince doesn't seem to like Seth at all. Seth puts his feet on Vince's desk, and Vince is like, take your feet off my desk. Kind of mumbly Vince,
Yeah, he didn't shout. I kept expecting Vince to go a shut up.
Yeah, I don't think he's got it anymore.
Yeah.
He tells Seth that he's surprised that he didn't win his way to WrestleMania. Says, a lot of failures there. Failing a lot, Seth. Vince wants to know why Seth didn't just ask him to be at WrestleMania. If you wanted to be at WrestleMania, why not just come to me and ask me for a match? What?
That's very strange.
Vince
you can do that?
The whole time, Vince is doesn't seem to like Seth at all. And then at that point, he's like, well, I just give you a match. Why not? You're Seth. And Seth is like, oh, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, it lasts for a bit much.
Right? And Vince says, well, if you're going to be if we're going to have Mania, we might as well have you there. He's still kind of you're worth something, but so you're going to have your own main event at WrestleMania, and you won't find out who your opponent is until you're in the ring, and I'll announce your opponent. And then Seth is happy with that, and he celebrates around Vince's office and jumps on the desk and kind of dances around, and that was it.
Yeah. Vince looked pretty yellow, whatever.
The lighting was weird.
The lighting, yeah, it looked like golden.
Other than Vince's appearance, which whatever, he's 76. I'm not going to go on and on about Vince.
It was a pretty boring segment.
It was just nothing, and now Vince is involved in this too. So he's involved in this, and I guess still in the Austin Theory Pat McAfee match, although seems limited at this point.
He's supposed to apparently accompany Austin Theory ringside or be ringside during that match.
Is he though? He hasn't been with Austin Theory, seen on camera with Austin Theory in how long? It's been weeks. Last week on SmackDown, Austin Theory kind of pushed Pat McAfee and then ran away from him. McAfee chased him, and Theory ran into Mr. McMahon's office, but you didn't see Mr. McMahon.
No.
And then McAfee was just like, oh, he's in Vince's office. I'm not going to chase him in
safe zone.
there. Yeah. It's like, oh, he's safe there.
It's a game of tag.
So Seth probably going to face Cody at Mania, although at this point, it's just a weird story. So Seth has no opponent, and he's all mad. So Vince decides to find him an opponent, and he finds Cody Rhodes to wrestle Seth.
Because
why? Like,
Cody wants revenge?
for what?
I have
Because
something about the Shield?
Vince is tired of his talent, so he's trying to get AEW guys to come in and right the ship? I don't know.
Is it like when he brought in the NWO? He's like, injecting a dose of poison into my company.
Maybe. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes is that poison.
Yeah. The Rhodes family always knows what to do. Visionaries of wrestling, something like that.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Maybe?
But then Cody comes in as heel? I don't know, because
Vince's guy?
Seth is such a heel right now. It's hard to imagine Cody coming in as a heel too. But if he's with Vince and he's Vince's hired gun, seems like a heelish thing to be. It's very odd. Like the introduction of Cody Rhodes, already. Like this is his first thing in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And already you're looking at it like, what the hell is
Feels
this?
fumbled.
Yeah. The fact that Cody didn't show up 2 weeks ago in Jacksonville, I think, is a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they didn't have him signed or whatever, but goddamn, then have him show up in Chicago last week. Have him show up tonight in Pittsburgh. Why is he Vince's pick? Why has Vince McMahon brought in an EVP from AEW to wrestle one of his top guys who has no match at WrestleMania? What is the logical story there? Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, why doesn't he just pick Sheamus?
Yeah. Yeah, does Sheamus have a match at
Probably
WrestleMania?
the Battle Royal.
Why doesn't he just, get his son Shane,
Yeah.
Like, why would he choose Cody? If Vince doesn't really like Seth, right? Like, he didn't seem to love Seth tonight. But he recognizes that he's worth something, so he puts him on the WrestleMania card. Why would he go out of his way to find Cody Rhodes,
Sign him
away from AEW, to use him as this mercenary to face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania as a huge attraction? It's an odd choice for Vince McMahon to be making. If Cody Rhodes just comes out and says, Seth Rollins, if Seth comes out on Raw tonight, starts the show with a promo in the ring, says, I'm not letting Raw go until I get WrestleMania moment, and da-da-da. Cody Rhodes comes out, Seth Rollins, I've been watching you, and I'm tired of seeing you drag this show down, and I'm going to put an end to you and your ways. At WrestleMania, you got yourself a match. That's it. That's all he's got to do.
And he hits a crossroads.
He's just got to say, doesn't even.
No
contact. Seth in the ring, doing his thing, saying, show doesn't happen until I get my way. Cody Rhodes' music hits. Fans go insane. Cody on the mic, on the stage. He says, Seth Rollins, you want this match. I see you. You're one of the reasons why this company's in the toilet, and I'm here to bring this company back to where it needs to be. And at WrestleMania, you're going down, and I'm going to show you what a real WrestleMania moment is supposed to be.
I like that angle, actually. Vince brings Cody kind of like as like a corporate consultant.
Yeah.
It's like, I need you to make my show more like Dynamite.
Yeah. This show, it needs less Seth Rollins and more Cody Rhodes.
It'd be a good angle for Cody,
And it needs less, Roman Reigns and more Sammy Guevara. And it's like, wait a second.
More Brandy.
Yeah, hey, we got Brandy. Get out of here, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
We got Brandy now. Wait a second. Cody. It's gone too far. But, yeah, like Vince has brought Cody in to help revamp Raw because Raw's in the toilet and Seth Rollins is ruining Raw. He's all over the show and he's no good. So here's Cody to fix that. I mean, that makes some sense, but
It's the best angle they could do.
But could you imagine them actually doing that? Acknowledging that AEW is maybe doing a more interesting show and you have Cody in there to help Raw because it's kind of boring? Like, that's far-fetched, you know?
Yeah, or just even acknowledging AEW.
Yeah, that's it. Even acknowledging that Cody's got some creative ideas, you know? I don't know. I could see Stardust showing up at WrestleMania too, so who knows? Vince McMahon has found Seth Rollins' opponent for WrestleMania, and it's Will Smith, actually. It's crazy. It's changed.
Yeah, Seth has been making some cracks about Jada.
Yeah, and Will is pissed, so he's coming after him. You know, it was going to be Cody Rhodes, but now this recent controversy, Vince has booked Will Smith, and it will be Will Smith versus Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins.
That's it. That's a big match. Involving a celebrity. They haven't done that in a while.
Oh, it would be the biggest match they could possibly make. Will Smith versus Seth Rollins.
Big Willie strong style.
Whoa. I don't think he's got much in him. That slap was weak. And I think it was a work. But I tell you, he's a hell of a worker, brother. If it was a work, that guy's a hell of a worker. Good actor. The guy knows how to sell a work. I think it was a work, though. Good God almighty. So Seth versus Cody? Or Seth versus Ted DiBiase Jr.? Or Seth versus, Robert Roode.
Glorious.
Yeah, it's like, Seth, you know who else doesn't have a match at WrestleMania? Elias. Oh, shit, Elias is back.
I mean, he apparently is supposed to come back. Apparently, I think he's got, a shaved head and, a new gimmick or something. Apparently, they've been trying to, set him up for, a repackaging.
I mean, imagine the heat.
Yeah. You think it's Cody, then
It's Elias.
Hello, I'm Elias.
Hello, my name is Elias.
Walk with Elias. You remember that? People are like,
Oh, no. People will be so mad.
Shut your mouths.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to sing.
Everybody knows that WWE stands for boo. Oh, God. All right. So Seth did his thing, and, we'll see what happens on Saturday. We'll do a post show, by the way, of course, post shows for all the WWE pay-per-views. Post show on Saturday and Sunday after WrestleMania.
We do it all.
That's right. Brock Lesnar started the show tonight, and his promo, sucked.
Yeah,
it was weird. He kind of stumbled through it, talked about Roman, hey, we're going to go down the streets of Suplex City. And then the crowd was, whatting him, and he's like, yeah, you can do that. That's okay. He's kind of, chuckling through it, but you could tell it was throwing him off a little bit. And then eventually Brock says, oh, we're going to go on Suplex City, and then an introduction to the Beast of Broadway, and then we're going to go to the carnival for a ride on the F5, and nobody likes that ride, and it's a bumpy ride in the carnival. I was like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And then Brock tells the people that, yeah, you can do the what thing, but Stone Cold's going to be at WrestleMania, and Stone Cold's an ass kicker. And the crowd's like, yeah. And he's like, but he didn't kick my ass. And the crowd's like, oh, yeah.
So he did stun him at Mania 20.
Yeah. And then Brock says there's going to be him and Roman are going to be wedding crashers at WrestleMania because their titles are going to get married and they're going to have a kid, and that kid will be the unified WWE title, and Brock Lesnar is going to get full custody. And that was pretty much it. It was weird. It was just odd. It was a little too long. It was not much of a point there. A few too many lines that Brock had to spit out. Obviously, that wedding crashers thing was not Brock's idea. That was just something fed to him.
The carnival
and the F5 and all of that goofy stuff. It was not a great way to start Raw. And, it did nothing to get, like, the carnival ride of the F5 doesn't make me say, damn, that WrestleMania match is going to be something. Doesn't make me say, I'm not excited.
They said nobody survives the ride, which is like, that's a dangerous ride.
Everybody survives the ride. Everybody survives. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was not a good promo. Brock, when he's given scripted promos, he just doesn't seem comfortable. He's always the best when he kind of like lets loose, swears a bit,
Yeah. It didn't feel like a loose Brock Lesnar. It felt like a Brock Lesnar that was given some lines that had to go out there and do it. And because I don't think he had much to say. Because the real Brock Lesnar going into this match at Roman Reigns, like, how many times can he tell him he's going to kick his ass?
Yeah.
Like, how many times can you go out to the ring and say, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to hit you with the F5, Suplex City.
I've told you before in previous fights.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he said it to him so many times. No. Like, there's a limit to how many times you could go out and cut the same promo.
Mm-hmm.
And Brock and Roman have been doing this for almost a year now, so I think Brock just kind of ran out of steam at the worst possible time 6 days out from WrestleMania. But hey, whatever. And then The Miz cut a promo, and he says he's going to give Ray's Lucha mask. He took Ray's Lucha mask, and he gave it to Logan Paul, who's now Lucha Logan, who comes out wearing Ray's mask. That's great. You got one of the biggest stars in the world. Cover his face. Don't have him say a word. That's smart. That's how you market Logan Paul. And then Ray and Dominic attacked them. Dominic got ejected from ringside before a match could take place between Rey Mysterio and The Miz. Not sure why Logan Paul wasn't ejected. Just Dominic.
That was strange.
It was weird. Ray still won, though. Rolled up The Miz. And then stared down The Miz after the match, and Dominic tossed Logan Paul into the ring, and the Mysterios went for a double 619 on Logan, but he escaped. And then Ray took his mask back from Logan Paul, so he got that back, and the Mysterios hit a double 619 on The Miz, while Logan Paul just watched from outside. He looked frustrated, but he just kind of watched his tag team partner get beat up by the Mysterios, a double 619, and then Dominic went up to the top rope for a splash, hit it, and then Ray went up to the top rope for a splash and hit it, while Logan Paul just stood there and watched. He's supposed to wrestle at WrestleMania this weekend, and he
didn't get involved.
He was not involved in this at all. Why would he just watch his tag team partner get beat up? He seemed mad about it. Why wouldn't he jump in? These guys were just trying to beat him up.
He was doing this.
Yeah, he was like, no.
He's like, oh,
no. A lot of that.
And I could see him like, oh, no.
Act mad, but don't do anything.
Just let it happen.
Who booked that segment? It was ridiculous. Logan Paul's just getting attacked by the Mysterios. They tried to double 619 him. He escaped. And then The Miz gets beat up, and Logan Paul doesn't try to help his guy, doesn't try to get revenge, just kind of stands there and looks angry as he watches and watches and watches. So that was weird, and I have zero hopes for that match. I mean, the Mysterios against Miz and Logan Paul.
Who are the ring, like, other than Ray?
The only guy I actually have love and admiration for is Rey Mysterio. The rest of them, if I never saw them again for the rest of my life, I don't think I'd notice.
I'm like, how? Like, if Ray's not in the ring for that match, like, what's gonna happen?
I don't need to see
Dominic and Logan Paul in the ring. Like, what happens in that match?
I mean,
it's a car crash.
What happens when Ray's not in that match in general?
Yeah.
Because when Ray's not in that match, you have Dominic Mysterio against either The Miz or Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when Ray is not in that? It's going to be terrible.
I'm hoping it's going to be short.
The amount of wrestlers that wrestle and put their bodies and lives on the line for peanuts, and Dominic Mysterio gets to work WrestleMania. It's It's insulting. As a person who's watched a lot of wrestling, to see this kid go out there, and then The Miz and Logan Paul are not much better. Really. The Miz is just Dominic Mysterio, who's lasted a while.
Yeah. But Dominic just continues to fail upwards.
Yeah. He's got a match at WrestleMania against Logan Paul. It's unbelievable. And he's not good in any way. It's an insult to watch him. It really is. Omos. This was actually pretty good. Omos beat the Viking Raiders. The match barely happened. Omos hit a clothesline on Eric of the Viking Raiders. Eric took a huge bump, rolled out of the ring after the clothesline, and then just got counted out. And then Omos got interviewed after the match, and he says he's going to dominate everyone. Didn't have a match for WrestleMania. Didn't seem to care.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't Omos wrestle Seth Rollins at WrestleMania?
Yeah, why not? That's a big challenge.
Right? But, okay. Bobby Lashley shows up, and he gets tossed around a bit by Omos, which was pretty cool. Lashley looked like the small guy, and Omos was overpowering him even. And then Bobby got mad and charged at him and hit a flying shoulder tackle on Omos that bumped Omos out of the ring. Bobby points at the WrestleMania sign, and we have a match, Bobby versus Omos. I like the physicality there. Bobby and Omos look like they were really, hitting each other. As the great Big E would say, big meaty men slapping meat. And I like that. Omos is a giant. Bobby Lashley is a freak of a man. I think this match could be fun at WrestleMania. It could be a mess, but it could be really good. I like that shoulder tackle, man. It looked like Bobby really flew and hit him with that shoulder tackle, and Omos didn't fall on purpose. He fell because he couldn't stand up.
It felt like it.
It felt real. I liked it a lot. I really liked seeing Bobby Lashley and Omos go at it, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most at WrestleMania. What the fuck?
It's a special attraction.
It is. It's weird.
Omos is fresh enough to be like, well, what is going to happen?
And Bobby turned babyface.
Yeah.
Bobby's now a babyface. Bobby came out. They're chanting his name. They're like, yeah, Bobby, get him. Bobby was like pointing at the sign, getting flexing, doing everything. Bobby is now the babyface. It's on Sunday. WrestleMania Sunday, Bobby versus Omos. I can't wait. It's going to be crazy. It could be really nuts. But Bobby Lashley goes from heel Lashley. Last time we saw him was in the Elimination Chamber where a guy got tossed on him while Bobby was in his pod and he was injured. But he was actually injured, but not from whatever happened with the pod. And then he had to go away. And he never actually lost the WWE title. And now he's back, and he's a babyface, and he's wrestling Omos. MVP wasn't with Bobby tonight, but in the graphic for Mania, he was. So I guess MVP's still with Bobby. I wonder how you make the team of MVP and Bobby Lashley babyface long term. Like, how does MVP work as a babyface manager?
I'm sure you could, he brings back the ballin', catchphrase.
Babyfaces don't usually have managers, though. Not these days. It's usually a heel thing to have a manager.
Yeah, unless it's like a valet every now and then.
Yeah.
From babyfaces.
Yeah, but I don't know. Bobby was a total babyface tonight, and he's going to take on Omos at WrestleMania. I think it'll be fun. I really do. I can't believe that I'm that excited for it. But if you look at the rest of the card, honestly, Omos is interesting. Reggie and Dana Brooke backstage on the show. Reggie got on one knee and proposed marriage to Dana Brooke, and she accepted. And then Tamina showed up and attacked Dana Brooke and got a 2 count. Couldn't get the 24/7 title off of her because Reggie pulled Dana away and they escaped. Tozawa then showed up wearing a suit because he heard Reggie was going to propose to Dana, and he decides to propose to Tamina, who also accepts marriage. So we had 2 wedding proposals tonight. 2 wedding proposals and a haircut. I mean, who says it wasn't an eventful show? R-Truth and a referee was hiding, and he had binoculars, and he says, "Oh, 2 wedding proposals. That gives me an idea." So he's got some sort of plan. So I guess at WrestleMania, there's going to be 2 weddings, and R-Truth is going to officiate the wedding or be involved somehow, and then he will win back the 24/7 title at WrestleMania, which is very, obvious, but at least things are moving along in this story. Every week something happens, and now we have a double engagement tonight on Raw.
Yeah. I was like saying earlier, this is like one of the only storylines, if not the only storyline, that has like a clear, like you could clearly track the progress.
Yeah.
Like before it was like, Tamina wasn't even involved in the 24/7 thing, and then she gets involved, and her and Tozawa get like kind of closer, and R-Truth backs away, and like you could track it. It's insane how much, how cohesive it seems.
Yeah.
Of all the storylines, of all the feuds, this is the only one where you're like, oh yeah, I could trace this back, 6 months, and it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like in the background and very little attention is paid to it, yet whoever's in charge of it seems to be keeping track of the detail and the motivations of the characters. It's the only story that kind of has made sense throughout on Raw, which is saying a lot.
Whoever's writing that segment should write the whole show.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that seem to know how.
I don't know. It does seem like somebody's paying attention to that at least.
Good for Tamina.
Yeah. Congratulations to
Mazel tov.
Congratulations to the happy couple.
Z.
Couples, yeah. Reggie and Dana, of course, too. Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Paul Heyman come to the ring for a promo. This is usually something we have to sit through on SmackDown, but of course they did it on Raw tonight because it's WrestleMania Raw. And Roman talks about how he's the tribal chief and the crowd whats him. And Roman says if the crowd keeps whatting him, he's going to smash every one of them like he would smash Steve Austin, and he's going to smash Brock Lesnar. So the crowd was firmly chanting what to Brock and Roman during their promos tonight. Kind of odd that, Roman goes on, says he's done everything but beat the Beast at WrestleMania. And, he talks and he does his promo. And, Brock has gone at Roman with a forklift and basically tried to kill Roman and Heyman. And he seems like every time he's in the same building as Roman Reigns, he's trying to kill Roman. Tonight,
The go-home show.
Nothing. Brock came out, did his weird promo to start the show. Roman came out, did his regular promo in the middle of the show. And Brock and Roman didn't see each other face to face. They've seen each other so many times, face to face, leading up to this pay-per-view, yet on the go-home show to it, they're separate. And they do some of the blandest work that they've done going into this show. Crowd chanting Suplex City. Roman says the last time they faced off at Mania, his family was disappointed in him. He needs to beat Brock Lesnar at Mania. Roman says that he's mad that Brock Lesnar was talking about carnivals and joking around because he's dead serious. And he's going to take everything from Brock. And he took Heyman and he took the longest title reign in the past 35 years from Brock Lesnar. And this Sunday he's going to take Brock Lesnar's title too. And Roman says it's always been personal to me. And then he puts down the mic and leaves. Yeah.
That was long.
It was long, and it was pointless. You know, he said a few things that were good, but a lot of it was just kind of filler. Some of it was worthwhile. When he said, Brock, I took everything from you. I took Heyman. You had the longest win streak in the past longest title reign in the past 35 years. Now that's me. This Sunday I'm going to take your belt. That's all he really needed to say. All that other stuff, about how I need to beat Brock and this and that. Like, it dragged. And I feel like he said it before.
And it's kind of setting up that he is going to win. I've never beaten you. I want to beat you. Like, it's just like, okay, then he is going to do it,
Yeah, he probably will.
The third time they're wrestling off,
I'd be really surprised if Brock Lesnar won.
The Rock beat Stone Cold in his third try. This is probably kind of like a parallel they're going for.
Roman wins, and hopefully Dwayne shows up at the end of the show to face off with Roman. Like, that would be the best case scenario, but it's probably just going to be like Roman holding the belt and fireworks and Roman standing tall at the end of the show because it's WrestleMania and it's WWE and it's all about Roman.
I don't know when Dwayne's going to get involved in the feud or start a feud.
I mean, if The Rock and Roman Reigns don't wrestle each other at WrestleMania next year, I mean, what the fuck, you know? Like,
what's
come
this
on.
all for?
Yeah, what is this for? They better do it. They better get Dwayne on board to do that match next year. In Hollywood, come on. And if it's not Dwayne, then God damn it, give me Roman and Will Smith. God damn it. Give me that match, pal. That's money. Fresh Prince versus the Tribal Chief. I mean, shit. At this point, you could do Chris Rock versus The Rock on the undercard. Brother. Chris Rock could take a punch or a slap. That was an open hand slap. Yeah. David Schultz, Dr. D, could teach Will Smith how to throw one of those with some power. Carmella and Zelina are now on the same page. They're all together. But they couldn't keep it together with Shayna and Natty in an 8-woman tag. It was Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Sasha Banks, and Naomi getting the win over Carmella, Zelina, and Shayna and Natty. Zelina tagged herself in after Natty hit the heart attack there with Shayna, and that led to the babyfaces taking over and getting the win. Of course, we have a fatal 4-way for the women's tag team titles coming up at WrestleMania Sunday. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, WrestleMania Sunday.
Because the 2 women's title matches are on Saturday.
Yeah.
I think this will be the only women's match on the Sunday.
The Saturday card, just to give it to you, is Becky Lynch defending the Raw Women's title against Bianca Belair, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio against Miz and Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin, which, aren't they on SmackDown? Why were they on TV tonight?
Because they got to hype that match. It's so anticipated.
A lot of these SmackDown guys were taking up Raw time, and I wasn't really enjoying it. Drew McIntyre against Happy Corbin, Usos versus Nakamura and Boogs, Kofi and Woods against Sheamus and Ridge Holland. That's just a match?
Yeah.
Wow. Seth Freakin versus somebody, Cody probably, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey, which is probably the main event of night 1, right?
Well, the Stone Cold and Kevin Owens segment.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin in his promo, which we'll get to.
He did say it was the main event, right?
Yeah, and I think reports have it.
It probably will close the show.
Close the show with a beer bash.
Technically, the last match will be Charlotte and Ronda.
Yeah.
But the end of the show will be Austin and Kevin Owens. And I think that Kevin Owens did the best job of anybody on this show to sell his segment for WrestleMania. I don't think anybody did a better promo or anything to get you more interested in their storyline than Kevin Owens. I thought his promo was very good. He said, last week I dressed up like Stone Cold, and it was a tribute to Stone Cold. The great Stone Cold that we all love and remember. But Stone Cold isn't here anymore. It's been 19 years. Stone Cold retired. All we have left is Steve. And Steve begs people to come on his little podcast to talk about the old days and make himself feel good. Steve isn't coming to the KO show to pick a fight because he knows if he picked a fight, he'd be in trouble because Stone Cold doesn't live here anymore. It's Steve. And there's a new Stone Cold, and it's Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens says Steve is coming to have a nice little conversation about his career. And Owens says that, I'm a good person, and I'm going to give Steve the biggest platform of his life to talk about his little career. And he even says, I hate beer, and the crowd boos, but I'll drink one with Steve, and we'll toast to Steve Austin passing the torch to me, the new Stone Cold, and the true master of the stunner. Owens 316 says, my stunner is better than yours. If you think my stunner is better than Stone Cold's, give me a hell yeah. And Owens warns Austin that if he tries to get funny with him at WrestleMania, he's going to give him a stunner. So I thought that was really good. It was much more serious in the promo from last week, and he really kind of opened up on how he felt about Austin and, the current version of Austin, and he took some shots, and it felt more personal, and that's kind of how you got to go when you got Stone Cold Steve Austin, the greatest of all time, coming in,
Yeah, you want to fight back.
Yeah, man, you don't want to
just be like, okay, I guess Stone Cold might kick my ass.
It can't be all jokey. It's got to be serious, and there's got to be a threat, and there's got to be like, man, Kevin Owens said some things about Stone Cold. What's Stone Cold going to do? And also seeds of doubt. Like, a lot of people think Stone Cold's going to come in, whoop some ass, and run right through Kevin Owens because it's going to be easy. But Kevin Owens tonight saying, look, this guy's super old. He's beat up. He's not the guy that he used to be. He's an old podcaster. He looks the same, but he's not the same. And it's Steve. It's not Stone Cold, and Steve is no threat. So he's really kind of trying to make you believe that, hey, this guy who's coming, he's not going to kick my ass because he's really not that important. But, of course, he is, and it's going to be the main event, and he's going to stomp a mud hole and walk it dry.
Do you think
Tremendous.
We'll see Thez press?
I hope so. I want to see all the hits. Thez press, stomps in the corner. Elbow drop with the middle fingers. Everything. Of course, a stunner. Yeah, I want to see everything. I want to see the hits, the greatest hits of Stone Cold. Kevin Owens knows exactly what they are, and I think he's going to do his best so that we see them. And I think it's going to be good because Kevin Owens is a big fan of Stone Cold. Stone Cold is a big fan of Kevin Owens, and they're going to work hard for each other. They're going to main event a night of WrestleMania. Austin recognizes that's a big spot. Kevin Owens recognizes that's a big spot. They're going to go out there and they're going to entertain. It's not going to be a wrestling match. It's not going to be, any kind of 5-star classic type of thing, if that's what you're looking for. But if you're a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you're a fan of Kevin Owens, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be good.
Might wind up being like the most entertaining part of the show.
I think it'll probably be the best thing we see all weekend. Although, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Austin Theory beat Rick O'Shea by pinfall after hitting his finish. Pretty impressive way he picked Ricochet up in like a power bomb, and then he lifted him and put him on his shoulders and hit that ATL thing. Theory just beating Ricochet tonight. No Pat McAfee interference. No nothing. Just a win for Austin Theory. It was kind of weird.
And Ricochet is the Intercontinental Champion?
Yeah.
And just total
Ricochet Intercontinental Champion over on SmackDown. Mm-hmm. So he came on to Raw to do a job to Austin Theory because Ricochet's in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal on Friday night on SmackDown, and Austin Theory has a match with Pat McAfee. Intercontinental title.
Should
that's
McAfee
where it
have
is.
the warm-up match?
Yeah, well, I guess because he's like a celebrity, you don't want to give him a match before. You don't want to spoil the surprise of Pat McAfee in the ring. Sure. So instead, we had Austin Theory just beating the Intercontinental Champion clean tonight, which is odd because it doesn't really help your Intercontinental Champion who's on SmackDown. At least if Austin Theory came out and Pat McAfee came out, you can have an out for Austin Theory, but I guess McAfee's busy. He couldn't be on Raw. He's got like his own stuff going on. But Theory just beating the Intercontinental Champion tonight was weird. Really weird. Anyhow, then we had Bianca Belair. Speaking of weird, Bianca cuts an in-ring promo, and she says, my confidence is what threatens Becky Lynch, and that's why she tried to injure me, and that's why she says mean things about me, and I'm going to take the title from her at WrestleMania. So Becky Lynch shows up from behind. Her music hits, but Becky shows up I think she was under the ring or something. Bianca sees her coming, though, and they start fighting, but Becky takes advantage, gets a chair, hits Bianca with it. Becky tries to cut off Bianca's ponytail. Becky has scissors. Tries to cut off the ponytail, but Bianca counters and hits her with the KOD, her finish, and then Bianca hits another one, and then she goes for the scissors and starts cutting Becky's hair while Becky's, like, unconscious, and appears Sonya Deville, and referees come out to try and stop her. Becky gets a bunch of her hair cut off, and it didn't seem like extensions. It seemed like her real hair that was getting cut off there in the ring.
It was a shoot.
And it was weird because it felt like a heelish thing for Bianca Belair to do. Start cutting Becky's hair. Like, Becky's going to do this to you. It's a dastardly thing. You escaped it. You hit her with your finish. That's enough. You hit her with your finish again. Okay, cool. And then you're going to cut her hair? And then she did. And it seemed wrong, you know? Like,
and then she, like, gets her kind of like in a body lock. And Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville and referees are begging and pleading with us up, and she just has to just like ignoring them and just keeps
yeah.
It was and the crowd
Becky's
wasn't responding to it very well.
Becky's a mother. She's got a baby. She's getting her hair cut while she's unconscious in the ring. Bianca's got that blade near her head, and she's thrashing her around. It was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I didn't love it, and I don't know how much it gives sympathy for Bianca, who's supposed to be the one getting sympathy as the babyface. I was more sympathetic for Becky, although the fans weren't, because Becky was in the ring and she was all mad and she started to go a little crazy, which, you know, I guess that kind of turned the fans against her because she just kind of stood there for a while, and the fans eventually started chanting, "You deserve it," at Becky, which I thought was a bit much, but hey.
That's what they wanted. I think she was trying to get them to get to that reaction, but like
eventually she got there.
She had to like really like throw a tantrum because they'll always react to someone throwing a tantrum.
Yeah. So eventually, after the tantrum, when she wakes up and realizes she got her hair cut, she kind of freaked out in the ring for a while, and the fans did chant, "You deserve it," but I don't know. And then we go to commercial, and we come back, and somebody's going to interview Becky, and Becky goes, "Bianca, you bitch," and then that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
I don't know, man.
I want Becky to win.
Yeah, I feel bad for Becky here after getting her hair cut. I kind of want her to win. Bianca hasn't been that sympathetic.
Again, in her promo, Bianca, she just sounded like a stickler for the rules and just, bringing up old history. It was just boring. And it must be her, right?
What do you mean?
Like her delivery. Or, she's
I don't know.
giving great material, but
the material and the delivery, it's odd. The Bianca Belair character hasn't really worked for me, and I feel like Becky is more of a babyface than Bianca. Bianca's promos are awkward. I think she's a hell of a talent and would be a great heel, but as a babyface, it's just weird. And then she does heelish things like cutting Becky's hair tonight while Becky's unconscious. Like, I get that Becky was trying to cut Bianca's hair, but she was unsuccessful. The babyface is supposed to be the bigger person, you know? Bianca wasn't the bigger person. She's like, oh, eye for an eye, like that's two wrongs don't make a right, Bianca.
Yeah.
Like
I can't get behind her.
Yeah, it's hard to be you're supposed to be a babyface. You're supposed to be a good person. A good person doesn't cut somebody else's hair while they're unconscious. A good person says, you were going to cut my hair.
Like once,
Yeah, but she just cut a bunch of hair.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
just
a lot.
Like cut one lock, or something,
And also that ponytail on Bianca's head, it's not real.
Yeah.
Does anybody think that's a real ponytail? Like when Becky was going to cut off the ponytail, I was like, yeah, whatever. They can glue another one back on her for the pay-per-view. No big deal. You think Bianca Belair walks around with that giant ponytail all day? You think it's a real ponytail? It's ridiculous. It's not a real ponytail. Cut it off. Doesn't make a difference. Bianca actually cut Becky's real hair off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Drew McIntyre wrestled Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss, kind of. It was a 2-on-1 tag team match, and I was like, why the hell is this happening? Because these are all SmackDown guys, and Drew's supposed to wrestle Corbin on Sunday, but of course Corbin didn't tag into the match, abandoned Madcap, who took the Claymore from Drew. But then Corbin attacked Drew after the match, hit the end of days and took the sword from Drew McIntyre, stole the sword, and escaped with Madcap. Keep these guys on SmackDown. I don't want to have to see these guys on 2 shows. Ridiculous.
What's worse, do you think? This now or the eventual? Because, like, I don't know if you noticed that, like, when Corbin left, Madcap kind of looked at him like he felt, like, betrayed. You know, kind of, like, disappointed. So, is it, like, is this worse now? Or is it going to be worse when Madcap does, like, a Wardlow kind of thing and, like, you know, feuds with Corbin?
I don't know about that. I think Madcap just stays as Corbin's lackey because who cares
Let's
about
hope
either
so.
of these
Let's
guys?
hope so.
They're
But
both terrible.
I could see them booking a whole program between these guys.
No, I don't even want to give them any thought. I can't waste my time thinking about what they're going to do with Madcap and Corbin. Will they break up? Won't they? I don't give a shit about those guys. Fuck those guys. Fuck their match. All that Drew McIntyre shit.
But
no.
you can see them doing a program.
Against each other?
Yeah, even though we don't want to see it. We could see it happening. Maybe Moss is a babyface.
I don't know. Yeah,
I could see it.
I'd rather see Madcap Moss wrestle Ridge Holland and see who gets a broken neck first. All right? Fuck it. God damn it. I'm sick of those guys. Harold Schneider dropping a super chat, $5 super chat. Thank you, Harold. Appreciate you. You are now tied for the lead with Silent by Deadly. Doug Hepburn asking, how long has it been since we got a haircut match? I was traumatized as a kid when Beefcake cut Adonis's hair. When is the last hair versus hair match we saw in WWE? Was it Edge and Kurt Angle? Was
Victoria
it Vince
and Molly Holly?
Was it Vince and Donald Trump?
Yeah, that was Vince. Donald Trump was more recent.
It may have been Vince and Donald Trump, honestly.
I thought they did one more since then, but I'm not sure. It might have been on like TNA even or something.
Yeah, I don't think WWE has
CM
done.
Punk was in a hair versus mask match with Rey Mysterio.
And he lost his
and he
hair.
shaved his head.
Yeah.
Probably that?
That's hair versus mask.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So.
The last hair versus hair that I remember in WWE was Trump and Vince.
Yeah.
And it was Umaga and Bobby Lashley wrestling for them.
WrestleMania 23.
Yeah.
The year 2007.
It's a great gimmick.
Simpler time.
Edge and Kurt Angle was great because Kurt Angle, he sold it great and,
and Victoria and Molly Holly, I think
and then Kurt Angle was bald after that, forever, He's still bald.
They pitched that as a way to get on the show.
Yeah, it was good.
They're like, can we have a women's title match? They're like, I don't know if there's room. Molly Holly's like, I'll shave my head. Like, okay, you're in.
Yeah, let's do it. You get to have a match. Drew McIntyre and... No, wait, that doesn't make sense. Moss has hair. Corbin doesn't have hair. I was like, Drew and Corbin should do a hair versus hair match. Hair versus career. If Drew loses, he's got to shave his head. If Corbin loses, he has to leave wrestling forever. Or he could go to Control Your Narrative Wrestling.
That sounds
it's the only place he can go. That seems like the place for him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When are Madcap and Corbin getting released so they could go to the true home for them? The Braun Strowman EC3. Can we say, are they a right-wing wrestling company?
Is it conservative in nature?
I think so. I think there was some...
Are they going to have like political characters?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
But they're very against cancel culture, brother.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think Drew and Corbin will be good there. Drew, Corbin, Madcap, throw them all in. Control Your Narrative. I think Control Your Narrative is going to be a new developmental for WWE. I think it's in the works.
It's like a
secret
brother. Vince project.
Secret Vince is funding it secretly. Vince, Shane,
Linda,
and that referee that they
Drake
fired. Drake Wirtz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Road Dogg.
Oh, Road Dogg.
Road Dogg, brother. He loves it.
Road Dogg's seen the documents.
When's Nia Jax going to be in that Control Your Narrative? That seems like a place for her, right?
Yeah.
Whew.
Or Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt. That's their speed.
Yeah, Bray Wyatt just never came to wrestling again, eh? It was like,
No, I'm relieved.
Yeah, I don't need to see him. It's just odd. People thought that he was gonna show up, and he never did.
Yeah.
Edge cuts a promo from a desk in a dark room.
Speaking of Bray Wyatt,
this promo was terrible. this like dark room Edge promo. He talks about his match at Mania, and he says, AJ Styles, it's Judgment Day for you. And he's got this scale on the desk. It's ridiculous.
And we all know Judgment Day always happened in May.
Yeah, shut up, Edge. Thank you, Doug. Doug dropping a super chat. He says, thanks, boys. Your shows make Raw worth it. Well, I hope so. I don't know if they do because, you know, it's hard to sit through Raw. But your support makes Raw worth it for us because we sit through the shows for you guys and we recap them for you. So you guys like Doug and Harold and Silent by Deadly and Angelo Contagonis and everybody that's a member, anybody that's super chatting that supports this show, you guys make watching Raw worth it for us because sometimes it is a chore. You know, I usually like wrestling, but sometimes I don't because it's not good. AJ Styles got a good promo. Edge's promo was awful. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Some people think it's good acting, but I don't know what they think is good acting, but it's not that. Watch Will Smith at the Oscars. That's good acting, brother. That guy knows how to sell.
The intensity.
Intense, brother. Intense.
To hell with him.
Keep my wife's name. What do you say? Out your fucking mouth. Out your
twice.
Out your fucking mouth. That look on his face after he did it. My God. What a guy.
You see, like, someone, like, in the audience, like, was, like, in the balcony, was, like, during the commercial, they were, like, filming him getting, like, consoled by, like, Denzel
and Tyler Perry.
And Bradley Cooper.
Was Bradley Cooper there, too?
Yeah, Bradley Cooper, like, held him by the shoulders, like,
hey, Will.
I'll feel you back.
Everything's cool, man.
Yeah.
I hate Chris Rock so much. Will Smith smacked the shit out of me. What the fuck? Like, you can hear it. He's going to do a goddamn bit about it. It's all fake. It's all fake. He's going to do a whole bit. It's faker than wrestling. AJ Styles did a good interview backstage, and this is the type of shit that we need to see in pro wrestling more often. Simple, to the point, good promo. AJ Styles, they're just backstage, no fancy backdrop. He's not in a dark room on a desk with, you know, all these props. He's just there, normal lighting. He's got somebody, somebody holding a microphone for him, asking him, hey, you know, Edge, WrestleMania. And then he goes into this promo, says, you know, a month ago, Edge hit me in the head with a chair, and since then, he's changed his look, and he changed his music, and he's getting all weird, and I don't know what he's trying to do, but it seems like he's trying to get into my head, and you know what? He has got into my head, because all I could think about is what I'm going to do to him at WrestleMania. I'm going to get my revenge, and I'm going to take him out, and you're going to see one of the worst beatings you've ever seen in your life at WrestleMania this Sunday or Saturday or whatever. And then he walked away. It was simple, 2 minutes, interview backstage, said WrestleMania, plugged the match, gave you a reason to tune in. I'm going to give Edge a vicious beating. This guy, you know, he's been acting all weird. He's been doing his thing, and AJ's not playing into it. He's like, this guy's trying to mess with me. He's, you know, AJ actually made sense out of Edge's nonsense. You know, he's like, oh, this guy is only getting all weird to mess with my head and trying to put me off my game, but it's not going to work because I'm going to get him. And it was just perfect. You know, it was just a perfect, old-school, classic pro wrestling promo. It didn't have to be 10 minutes in the ring, entrance, all this shit.
Long, meandering story.
You're backstage. You're with AJ. He's telling you how he feels. He's telling you what's happened in the past. He's telling you what he's going to do at WrestleMania. And by God, you're going to tune in to see that fucking match. AJ Styles knows what he's doing. He's a top-level professional wrestler, and he doesn't need all that frilly bullshit to get his point across and get you interested in what he's going to do. He's the goddamn phenomenal one, and everything that he's done in the lead-up to this story has been fine, has been good even. Everything Edge has done in this program has been bizarre.
Disappointing.
Overacting, ridiculous, over the top,
the lighting,
nonsense, talking a lot, saying nothing, just awful. Telling AJ Styles he wants to get the best out of him for his match, and that's why he put him out with a concussion 3 weeks before the match with a double chair shot to the head. Okay, that makes sense. 2 months ago, you're a good guy family man with your wife wrestling Miz and Maurice. Now you're a psychopath because AJ Styles accepted your challenge for WrestleMania, your open challenge for WrestleMania. Edge was in the ring, normal Edge, Miz and Maurice Edge, saying, hey, I need an opponent for WrestleMania. AJ Styles comes out. He's like, I'll wrestle you. Edge goes crazy, attacks him, has been insane ever since. And AJ Styles is like, I don't know. He's crazy, I guess.
And Edge will probably go back to normal after this.
I don't know. I think this is a new character shift for Edge, unfortunately.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Especially the music change.
Yeah, the music change sucks, but it's not the music change to me. It's the long, overacted promos that go nowhere. I'm really not into that.
He's trying to get some good parts. Trying to think of this as an audition.
Yeah.
But it's just not good. It's just very amateur.
Yeah, it was not good at all. I don't like it. Not as good as performance as Doug Hepburn and Chris Rock's performance in New Jack City. Pretty good in that. I prefer him in CB4. A lot of people have seen New Jack City, but how many of you have seen CB4? Okay? You ever seen CB4?
I have not.
You've not seen CB4? Come on, man. It's like a fake NWA starring Chris Rock. It's a comedy made in 1993. It is tremendous.
He's like an Eazy-E?
Yeah, he's like an Eazy-E type guy.
Oh, Phil Hartman.
Oh, the cast on this is fantastic.
Oh.
Phil Hartman, Chris Elliott, Charlie Murphy.
The late.
Candy Alexander. I mean, I'm telling you. The list on this, Isaac Hayes, Ice-T, Halle Berry, Ice Cube, Flavor Flav, Shaq, Eazy-E. I mean, that's a lot of people. A lot of people. I'm telling you, CB4. You got to see this. This is a good movie.
It's a hard
CB4.
movie to find.
Yeah, you should find it. I don't know if it's on anything, but CB4 was a damn good movie. One of my favorite Chris Rock movies.
I mean, I was trying to think, like, what's a Chris Rock, like, performance or movie that I'm like, oh, yeah, he was good in that. Like, I don't know, it's not quite his strength.
Movies? No, stand-up is really where you love Chris Rock, right?
Yeah.
That's why him telling a joke about Jada, you're like, well, why is Will Smith jumping up and down about that? Kind of weird. Steiner Brothers going into the Hall of Fame, well-deserved. Scott Steiner was banned from the Hall of Fame a few years ago because apparently he threatened Hulk Hogan and Hulk Hogan's wife at an airport. But now he's going into the Hall of Fame, so I look forward to his speech. Scotty's speech should be great.
Didn't he also, like, threaten to beat up Triple H and, like, expose him or something?
Possibly.
About steroids or something?
Possibly.
Or, like, and then he made something about Stephanie, make a crack about Stephanie, like...
Yeah,
he might have said something like, "I'll something in front of your wife," or something your wife in front of you, or
yeah.
I think he said something like, and like they had his picture there saying like, do not let this man in.
Yeah.
There's a picture of Big Papa Pump.
And now he's getting inducted, which is kind of cool, but well deserved. Steiner Brothers are, one of the best tag teams of all time, so I like it. But, Scott Steiner is an interesting character, so it's going to be nuts, right?
I mean, I hope he doesn't say anything bad
I hope he does.
About Triple H.
Who cares?
They'll cut him off right after.
Fat asses. Just say something about fat asses.
Some Steiner math.
Yeah, do something. I mean, Scott Steiner, just seeing Rick and Scott Steiner, I'm excited about that. Now I'm going to bring you a story as we wrap up the show. This is why you watch. I'm going to bring you some stuff that maybe you haven't seen. Ric Flair's podcast has changed co-hosts. Do you know this guy, Mark Madden? WWE in Pittsburgh tonight. Mark Madden, a Pittsburgh radio star for many years, and also used to work for WCW.
Name rings a bell.
Right, Mark Madden. Worked for WCW, did some commentary, did that, I think he did the 900 number. He did all sorts of
like
stuff.
A shaved head?
No, I don't think so.
I'll think of somebody else.
Mark Madden, I don't think he had a shaved head. This guy here. That guy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this guy, Mark Madden.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'll show you a picture too. There's a thing here. Let me show you here. There's Mark Madden. Okay, that's Mark Madden. He used to work for WCW. There he is with Chris Jericho. Okay, so you know he's in wrestling. There he is with Ric Flair and Terry Funk. By God.
Forever.
Okay, Mark Madden. Okay, now here is what Mark Madden tweeted yesterday, right? I am leaving the Flair. So Ric Flair has a podcast with Mark Madden that I have been enjoying. It's been a pretty good podcast. Flair's podcast is fun. There was 1 week where Flair wasn't on and they just did like a best of, and the show's been on for like 12 weeks. So to do a best of is kind of weird. Flair wasn't on. They didn't get Nate. And then the next 2 weeks, so like, back up for a second. Gotta get into this Nate news because it's interesting. You're gonna like this because you don't know anything about this.
I love Nate news.
This is brand new for you, so you're gonna enjoy this. Okay?
I imagine I will.
So a few weeks ago, Flair announces that he's breaking up with Wendy, his current long-term girlfriend. Okay? Says, she can't handle the life. I'm all over. I'm partying all the time, and she doesn't want to take care of the Nature Boy. She's taking care of Nature Boy enough, and she's got to get on with her life, right? So basically, she's had it with Ric Flair. So they broke up. And then he's doing his podcast. He talked about it a bit. And then at one point, he said, when he was talking about it, he said, nobody from WWE called me when all this went down, whatever, with Wendy. So whatever. That's besides the point. Then, a couple weeks ago, his show is off. He's not on. There's no new podcast, right? They do one every week. A couple weeks ago, there's no show. It's like a replay show. I go, this is weird that they would do a best of the Nature Boy when the show's been only on for like 12 weeks, right? Then the next week, Flair comes on, and he's his words are slurred. And either Nate is tired, or Nate is having a medical problem, or Nate is drunk, which, And then the next week, same thing. Nate sounds a little saucy.
Hey, brother.
Okay? And now, so 2 weeks in a row, it's like, this podcast seems a little wonky. Something's going on. Well, Mark Madden, but Nate is, I think, very difficult to deal with and probably hard to pin down to record a show with, right?
Imagine.
So here's what Mark Madden tweeted yesterday. I am leaving the Flair Uncensored podcast effective immediately. It's not a good fit for me, especially scheduling the prep and taping during my jam-packed work week. Thanks to Ric Flair and Pod Heat for the opportunity and for understanding. So the prep and taping, basically he just asks Ric Flair questions about what's happening in wrestling, and the taping is 1 hour per week. Okay? He has the time. He just doesn't have the time to wait around to do it whenever Nate has the time.
I'll call you back, brother.
I'll call you back, brother. And then he doesn't hear from him for a couple of days, and then you have to do a best of podcast because Nate disappeared because Nate is on a bender.
He's in Vegas.
So this is what Mark Madden tweets out, which is a classy, fine. He's leaving the podcast. He doesn't have time.
God. Nate's response?
And Nate responded. Love and appreciate you, Mark Madden, but actually, I relieved you of your duties. Best of luck with your work. I'll be back better than ever next Monday. Going home to my son-in-law, hey, it's Conrad, who, of course, is the king of podcasts and wrestling, and he's Ric Flair's son-in-law. He married one of Flair's daughters there. Not Charlotte, but someone else. So this opened the floodgates, of course, for Madden to respond. Why would Flair do this?
Just has to have the
Actually, I relieved you of your duties, brother.
Fired.
Best of luck with your work. I'll be better than ever next Monday without you.
Pretty much, you can't quit. You're fired.
Yeah, you can't quit. You're fired, and I'm moving on without you. And honestly, Ric Flair used to do a podcast with Conrad. The first time I ever heard about Conrad was because he was doing a podcast with Ric Flair, and it was terrible. Flair was on the phone. Sounded like he was in the bar while recording the show. You couldn't hear anything he was saying. It was a mess. And that podcast ended, surprisingly enough. And then when Flair came back with a podcast with Mark Madden, I thought, God damn, I can't actually believe they nailed down Flair. Maybe he settled down. Maybe he's got more time on his hands because he's not drinking as heavily. No. Wrong. And the podcast was going well. However, it's over now because Flair fired this guy, apparently. And here is Mark Madden's response. And by the way, you didn't have the balls to tell me you were firing me. You said the podcast was canceled, period. Your son-in-law had to tell me the truth. Why couldn't you just let it go? Why couldn't you just be a friend after 35 years?
Oh, boy. Because
Mark, it's so sad. You've been telling everyone for 30 years that I'm the greatest wrestler ever. I like that Flair capitalizes every word. Why does he capitalize every word? Quit trying to get the rub that made you who you are. Look forward to hearing you on the Pat McAfee show. Oh, wait, sorry. He canceled you too. Just be happy and enjoy life.
Okay.
Well, he was trying to until you shit on him publicly, Flair. What the fuck? And then, so good. This is great. Have another drink. Mark Madden's response to the Nature Boy, who seems inebriated while he's tweeting. Have another drink. God gave you the gift of life a few years back, and you thank him by getting shit-faced every single night like you are right now. You are the greatest wrestler ever. What you've become is sad.
Oh, my God. It's just completely derailed.
So sad. I'm sorry you feel that way. Prayers. And I think that was it. That's all we got. Wow. So that's for you.
Yeah. So
you like that?
Flair, he's a very insecure guy. Something I've gathered. It's just, oh, you're quitting? Well, you're fired and you suck and no one likes you anyway.
Amazing. Why did he do that?
He had to.
They seem like they had a cordial relationship on their podcast, whatever.
That's Flair,
AJ's in the chat. AJ, that's how I'm going to get rid of you from the podcast. Actually, you didn't quit, AJ. You were fired, brother.
It's just, it's like a one-upsmanship.
I replaced AJ with his brother, Julio. That'd be great. AJ, I'm going to replace you with your brother, Julio, one time and see if anybody notices. He looks like you.
If someone, like walks out on Flair doesn't seem like, cool. But if Flair fires a guy, he's like a boss, he's in charge.
Well, I mean, it's not uncool. The guy had a lot of work and he didn't have time to do the podcast anymore. That happens.
But
it was a
classy
insecure thing. But then Flair's like, fuck you, brother, you were fired. I'm going to do my show with Conrad. And I'm like, okay, Flair, will you though? Conrad does a podcast with he's got Eric Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard. He's got a million podcasts. He's also going to do one with Ric Flair? Really? Okay.
Probably not the best move for Flair, but I think in Flair's like way of seeing things, he's like, well, I can't let this, him, someone quitting on him is like, well, then what does he say? I suck, or no one wants to work with me. Well, fuck you, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
He's fragile.
Yeah, he is, especially when he's drinking.
Yeah, that also probably doesn't help either, because you just, oh, you're quitting. Well, any, with drunks, like any little like thing kind of pushing back is cause to like, well, then like just throw the whole thing over. Oh, you're quitting on me. Well, fuck you.
This tweet by Madden is the best though.
Yeah,
because he knows Flair.
Yeah.
He knows him. Have another drink. God gave you the gift of life a few years back. Flair almost died. He had a real serious health scare.
It's insane.
And you thank him by getting shit-faced every single night like you are right now.
It's incredible he's still alive.
It is.
He seems to be throwing caution to the
wind. And honestly, I don't know. He doesn't sound good these days is what I'm saying too. I don't know. He does not sound good. He does not seem like he's got his life on track. It seems like he's partying. He's got nobody to tell him anything. He's burning bridges left and right, and it's just...
Yeah, Triple H isn't going to, like, save him.
Triple H isn't around. You know, I think his daughters are around trying to help their dad, but, you know, he lost his girlfriend. He lost his buddy. Who knows how many buddies he's lost throughout the years. Like, it's... I don't know. It's sad. It is sad. But that's kind of the drama of the Nature Boy. That's part of the act. That's part of who he is. And that's it, brother. That's it. I am back. I don't know. Wednesday night after Dynamite. Dynamite's in Columbia, South Carolina on Wednesday. Okay.
The capital.
We'll see what AEW has planned for us this coming Wednesday, WrestleMania week. They got to show up. They got to, you know, kind of take some attention away from WWE. Try, at least, I think. You would think they would try a stunt.
Probably get a Phil Brooks promo.
Something. And then, of course, Friday night, I'll be back after SmackDown with Johnny North, and we will do the WrestleMania preview after SmackDown coming up Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, AJ, Freddie, and I will be back on Thursday night for Ringside Report MMA every Thursday at 8. So every Monday after Raw, Wednesday after Dynamite, Thursdays at 8 for the MMA show, and Fridays at 10 after SmackDown. And then, of course, after Raw and SmackDown, after WrestleMania and WrestleMania this weekend. The double mania, Saturday and Sunday, will be on here after both nights of WrestleMania.
And the post-Mania Raw.
Good God Almighty. Yeah. And then we'll see. You know?
Yeah.
And then we'll see. Angelo Contagonis dropping a super chat. Thank you, Angelo. He says, great show, guys. See you tomorrow night for Dynamite. Yeah, technically tomorrow night. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Doug. Thank you to Harold and Silent. You guys are the super chat leaders, Harold and Silent. Lead in the night. Thank you to you. Thank you to everybody watching and supporting the Ringside Report Network. I will see you again on Wednesday night after Dynamite right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.